The world game is aflame with issues. Like, where does FIFA get all its dumb ideas from? What's so special about José? Or Gareth? Or the Dutch? And we have to ask, is there any hope for Solo? It's our football special. And these are the burning issues.
We love Gavin.
He always starts with a bang, but his message wears thin. If José is so special, why can't he build a dynasty?
I am the current champion of England. Why should I be in trouble? Why?
It's a good question, José. Asked in the death throes of his second reign as manager of Chelsea in 2015, just a few months after the Blues' Premier League triumph. So why should the manager of the reigning champion of England have been in trouble? Maybe it's because this most charismatic character, appointed to Manchester United in 2016, has a fatal flaw. That his abrasive personality wears thin with players and administrators. Every time his reign has stretched beyond 2 seasons, it's ended in tears. But José gets pretty angry when you bring it up.
Porto, I didn't have a third season. My third season in Inter, I didn't have a third season. My third season at Chelsea, in the first time, I won the FA Cup and the Carling Cup. And I played the Champions League semi-finals. The third season in Real Madrid, I won the Super Cup. I lost the Cup final, and I went to the Champions League semi-finals. These are my third seasons, so click Google. Instead of make stupid questions, click Google and try to find.
So we clicked Google and discovered José's own judgment of his third season at Real Madrid back in 2013.
This is the worst season of my career, with a title that is not enough to me, and is also not enough to the club of Real Madrid. And that's why it's a bad season.
Maybe it's a case of lost in translation, but it does seem José's view has changed with time.
Now, you spoke about the third season, and I'm telling you that the question is stupid because the third season is what I told you.
Ben.
No, I know the point. The point is that the question is stupid.
But I'm asking how important is it to you as a man to show people that you can create a dynasty in football?
I have nothing to show to anyone. Nothing.
Real Madrid couldn't wait to get rid of José, but they'd like to hang on to their €100 million man a little longer. That's up next on The Burning Issue. He was the first €100 million man. But was Gareth Bale worth the money? No, of course not. No one's worth €100 million. On the other hand, given that Real were happy to extend his contract for an extra 6 years in 2016, it would seem reasonable to assume that they were happy enough with the deal they did back in the days when Carlo Ancelotti was in charge at the Bernabeu and Andre Villas-Boas was still in favour at Tottenham. Until José Mourinho decided to make a statement in his first season at Manchester United and buy Paul Pogba on a €105 million transfer, the world record transfer fee belonged to Gareth Bale. moved to Real Madrid from Tottenham Hotspur for €101 million in 2013. And while Pogba needs more time before his true worth is revealed, Bale's now had plenty of opportunity for the question to be asked. Was he really worth that much money? The Bale transfer began with rumours swirling that Cristiano Ronaldo was upset that Real had paid more for the Welsh winger than they'd paid for him, and that to balance the books, they had shunted his best buddy Mesut Ozil off to Arsenal. To offset the rumours, the club set up this awkward, coincidental meet before hitting the interview circuit to declare there was really only one man in charge at the Bernabeu, Cristiano Ronaldo.
He's the boss here, I think. He's the main player. He's the best player in the world, and I want to learn off him, as I've said. So, yeah, for me, I want to obviously try and help the team and try and help us win trophies. So, on that department, yeah, I'll have to wait and see what he says.
In his first year, Bale's goal tally in La Liga fell to 15 from the 21 in Premier League with Tottenham. But his assists rose from 4 to 12, half of them assisting Ronaldo. And he scored a brilliant match-winning goal in the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona, and a month later scored in extra time of the Champions League final.
Yeah, it's amazing. For me, this is why I came here. It's what I wanted to do, and yeah, to win the Copa del Rey and the Champions League for my first season is a dream come true.
After a quiet second season adjusting to his new hairstyle, Bale's third year was a beauty. Despite injuries restricting him to just 23 La Liga appearances, he scored 19 times with 10 assists. And in the Champions League final, he provided the assist to Real's goal and also scored in the penalty shootout to earn considerable praise for his role in the win. 2 Champions Leagues in 3 years was all the acceptance he needed. So from Real Madrid's viewpoint, the 100 mil was money well spent. But what about the other side in the equation? Did Tottenham get value for money? With a big budget to spend, 7 were brought in, most not worth mentioning. Only Christian Eriksen and to a lesser extent Eric Lamela seem to have earned the tick of approval. So would Spurs have Bale back again if they could? You bet they would. What on earth has gone wrong with Dutch football? Old-timers remember when Netherlands' favourite son, Johan Cruyff, was the star performer. Back in the day when Ajax became the best side in Europe with a unique playing style called total football. How it works? Imagine a windmill, equal parts turning. Only there's 11 players and they're all playing football. Using it, Ajax won 3 European Cups between 1971 and 73, while the Dutch national team reached the final of both the 1974 and 1978 World Cups. And other Dutch sides, PSV Eindhoven and Feyenoord Rotterdam, found their share of European glory. But since the 1995 Champions League win of Ajax and a UEFA Cup for Feyenoord in 2002, nothing. So how did a nation that was at the forefront of the game's innovation fail to be among Europe's top 24 countries at Euro 2016? What has happened to the Dutch?
You have to look to the future now. This is very disappointing for the players, for me, for the Netherlands. But we have to look ahead.
Maar we moeten vooruitkijken.
Sure, the Orange reached the final of the 2010 World Cup, But it did that not playing total football, but anti-football, according to Cruyff. Third place at the 2014 World Cup, according to Cruyff, only covered up its deficiencies. But there's no hiding the downfall of the Eredivisie, slumping from the 7th best European league in 2006 to 13th best in 2017. The truth is, football in Holland has been on the decline for some time. And this is the guy they blame, a Belgian, Jean-Marc Bosman, who fought for the greater freedom of players to move clubs and won. That was 1995, the same year Ajax won its last Champions League. And ever since the Bosman ruling, young Dutch players have been bringing glory to other teams around Europe. But players moving abroad isn't new. In the 80s, the trio of Frank Rijkaard, Ruud Gullit and Marco van Basten drove Italian side Milan to great success, while being key to the Orange Euro '88 triumph. You see, total football has since been not only employed, but improved upon by various clubs and nations. Barcelona's all-conquering tiki-taka of the 2010s had its roots in Holland, after Johan Cruyff mimicked the Ajax Youth Academy in Catalonia while he was manager there in the early 90s. So strong is the Dutch influence at La Masia, Barca doesn't even need to recruit Dutch players anymore. It's Spanish graduates as good, if not better. Remember that 2010 World Cup final? The Spaniards were more Dutch than the Dutch. But that only means that other clubs are having to buy in Dutch-educated talent, and at much younger ages in search of a bargain. At club level, the revolving door leads to a lack of team synergy, not the makings of total football. While internationally, without completing their football education back home, that talent is flopping more than ever before. Cruyff saying not one Dutch player comes to mind who has actually reached the top after moving abroad as a teenager. Having given the world total football, the Netherlands will always be a part of the world game. That its decline has become an issue just emphasises the stature and legacy Dutch football has had on the game. Coming up, are the US women's team better when they are hopeless? Is there hope for Hope Solo? Left to her own devices, Hope seems to find trouble pretty easily. She's known for enjoying the party life too much at times.
Kevin! Kevin, get your over here! Sure, Kevin!
Kevin, we hate you!
Kevin?
No, he's in
we
there.
love Kevin.
And when it comes to settling family issues, again, when she does it her way, things go pear-shaped. In 2014, she came to blows with her 17-year-old nephew when a family gathering got out of hand. Charges were never laid against Aunt Hope, but it wasn't the classiest of affairs. But when she's surrounded by good people, things seem to go okay for Hope. If those people are, say, a team full of legendary female footballers, things like Olympic gold medals tend to come her way. For instance, the ones from Beijing and London. It's in those times even her coach, Jill Ellis, seems to forget her mishaps, like that altercation with her nephew.
No, I mean, Hope's been fantastic. That was a long time ago, I'll be honest. We've moved on. So, no, none of that's even sort of resonated with us, and I'm sure many of the players aren't aware of it.
When she's surrounded by the wrong people, though, Hope's habits of finding trouble multiply. And one of the people she seems to find a load of trouble with is her husband, former NFL tight end Jeremy Stevens. If the ex-Seahawks and Buccaneers player looks comfortable in court supporting Hope, it's because it's such a familiar environment for the guy, having appeared so many times for his own list of poor behaviour. And if Hope dodged a bullet at the court hearing into the nephew incident, only a week later, it was as if they shot themselves in the foot. The pair were picked up by police in a car driven by Stevens. Both were drunk, and as she tearfully admitted later, they should have caught a cab. Back in the company of her teammates, Hope picked herself up and was part of the 2015 World Cup win. But after the US lost to Sweden at the Rio Olympics, Hope unfortunately found an unsupervised moment, long enough to publicly announce, "I think we played a bunch of cowards. The best team did not win today." Such an unsporting comment was the straw that broke the coach's back and earned Solo a 6-month ban from competition.
Over time, there's been off-the-field distractions, and the Federation has taken action. And, each time action has been taken, there's been made clear an expectation that this would be the last time such a step would be necessary. Sadly, Hope's post-game comments forced us to make a significant decision. And, it wasn't a decision just made about comments. It was a sum total of actions that have unfortunately shone a negative light on our program.
So is there hope for Hope? Well, it seems not when she's flying solo, at parties or at family gatherings. Get those good people around you, take your setbacks with dignity, and you might just have a chance for redemption.
Thank you, guys!
So, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has decided that as of 2026, the World Cup will expand from 32 teams to 48. But is it a stupid idea? 16 groups of 3 teams instead of 8 groups of 4 teams means 32 teams at the knockout stage. Penalty shootouts in every stage to avoid draws, an extra 16 matches, an extra 16 training venues required. Infantino claims the move is a product of natural evolution and is in the spirit of universality.
We are in the 21st century and we have to shape the Football World Cup of the 21st century. It's not anymore the 20th century, it is the future. We have to look into that. Football is more than just Europe and South America. I think this is positive. The Council felt this is positive.
Not surprisingly, regions that have traditionally fared poorly in World Cup qualifiers agree with Infantino. Asia and Africa particularly thrilled with the idea. This more eclectic vision is applauded by Argentine great Diego Maradona.
I love the initiative from Gianni Infantino to expand the World Cup. This gives some hope to those teams that think it's highly unlikely that they would ever play a World Cup game. This could give them engagement to compete, and football's passion gets renewed. It's a fantastic idea.
Infantino also highlights the wider distribution of money to needy nations. Prize money for qualifying, which in 2018 sits at $2 million, will go to 16 extra nations. And the value of broadcast rights is set to increase to the tune of about $1 billion globally. But this area of monetary gain is also where the venom starts to fly. Infantino made plenty of financial promises to FIFA member nations during his election campaign. And pundits are furious he's using football's flagship event to make good on them. Spanish League President Javier Tebas responded to the announcement with this assessment. FIFA is doing politics. Gianni Infantino is doing politics. Bertie Vogts, who played in the 1974 German World Cup winning side, was even more scathing. If you want to ruin something, this is the path you should take. I just don't understand it. Aside from the politics, FIFA was criticised for diluting the competition. For one, the introduction of penalty shootouts at the group stages. Bayern Munich head coach Carlo Ancelotti summing up the views of many.
I am against the penalty shot because the penalty shot is a lottery.
Many have also complained that allowing weaker nations in will increase the likelihood of embarrassing blowout games. Again, Infantino was defensive of this.
At the last World Cup, two powerhouses of football, Italy and England, were eliminated by Costa Rica.
Hey Gianni, isn't England a questionable example of powerhouse football? And never mind Costa Rica. Do we really want to see a far less credentialed team show up for the group stages, only to be belted 9-0 by Germany? Not the kind of show you'd imagine fans wanting to travel for. We shouldn't forget that the qualifying stages are a huge part of the World Cup. And lower-ranked nations can still focus on growing through that part of the competition. The 48-team format also has FIFA encouraging submissions for co-host nations to accommodate the swollen numbers and extra training centres. Geographically as well as competitively, is the World Cup being diluted? FIFA feels quantity is more important than quality. Not what the World Cup used to be about. The 48-team World Cup is just the latest strange decision in football. There's a lot more dumb ideas where that came from. The 48-team World Cup is not the only dumb idea to have been floated in football. Some nearly got adopted, like former FIFA president Sepp Blatter's brainwave to host the 2022 World Cup in Qatar's summer. That's right, in the middle of the baking hot desert. Things have been smoothed over by moving the competition to December. But man, what is it with FIFA presidents? And another dumb idea driven by money. When heavyweight clubs Manchester United, Liverpool and Chelsea all missed a place in the 2016-17 Champions League, suddenly someone came up with a plan for entry into the Champions League based on historical merit. While some teams would still earn their way in on actual merit, other spots would be reserved for elite clubs. To hell with their performance on the pitch. Rubbish. Marco van Basten adds to our list of witless propositions when he suggested scrapping the offside rule. Great! Turn football back into something resembling tennis, Marco. Jurgen Klopp had the best response.
He can invent another game, so that's no problem. But yeah, there are a lot, we have enough pitches around the world, so play something else somewhere else. But I think this game, what we all love, doesn't need this kind of rule changes.
Say, didn't Sepp Blatter support scrapping the offside rule a while back? Now, how about Barcelona's idea to blend poxy turquoise with aquamarine during their game against PSG in the Champions League? They deserve the 4-0 belting for that offence. And have you ever thought about how dumb it is to have pre-game fireworks? Think about it. Thousands of fans shoved into a stadium, already with mild bloodlust, and yep, set some explosions off in their faces. That's a really calming idea. What's worse, officials then go and tell fans not to use flares. Practice what you preach. Finally, have a look at this mad, thing. The Partick Thistle mascot. Now, whose idea was that? Probably Sepp Blatter's.